Okay, so let's see what we can do with one. Actually, let me quickly go and grab a coordinate grid. And could have done some of these adjustments when you guys weren't watching, but you know what? I will do them now. Okay, so let's see what we got here. In this case, what we are going to do is we're going to graph this. Now, this is in x-intercept form. I want to remind you, we always have one goal. Our goal is to find the vertex. That, in the end, is the most important thing. We're going to go find our vertex because we know how to graph once we got our vertex. So let's go find our vertex. In this case, this thing is an intercept form. It's factored, right? Something times something times something equals this. So the way we find the x-intercepts, we're going to start with finding the x-intercepts. So we take the function f of x, we set it equal to 0. And then we're going to solve this equation. And the way we do that is we use a zero product property. If something times something times something equals 0, then either this equals 0, or this equals 0, or this equals 0. So I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to say either 0 equals 2, which of course is false, so I can ignore it, or x minus 1 equals 0, or x minus 5 equals 0. So solving this, we get x equals 1, x equals 5. Now this actually gives us some really good information right off the bat, okay? What this tells us is that we have x-intercepts at 1 and 5. So if we wanted to, right, we could already start graphing and plot our x-intercepts because this tells us where it crosses the x-axis. I'm going to wait. I'm going to use them as a check because I'm just going to go and grab the vertex and do my normal thing, but we could already graph a couple points if we wanted to. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to find the vertex. So in order to find the vertex, we're going to find the x value of the vertex first. And the way we do that is we find the middle between these two x-intercepts because the axis of symmetry will always split the graph right down the middle. So we'll always split these points right down the middle. So in this case, the way you find the middle between two things is you take the two numbers, add them together, and divide by 2. So we get 6 divided by 2, or 3. So our vertex is going to be the point 3 something. We got to go and find the something. The way we find the something, the y value, right? So our vertex, just to be clear, the x coordinate of the vertex is 3. We need to find the y value. Well, how do you find the y value? You plug it into this function. This thing right here spits out y's. So we're going to plug 3 into our function. So let's see what we get. We get 2 times 3 minus 1 times 3 minus 5. That's going to be equal to 2 times negative 2, which is negative 8. So our vertex is the point 3, negative 8. From here, we are ready to graph. Okay, so we can go and do our normal stuff. I'm going to lower this a little bit here. So we can, again, there is, at this point, you know your vertex, you know your stretch value. We can go back to what we were doing in the previous video. So I'm going to do that. So let's see. This graph opens up, so the vertex has to be the lowest point on the graph. So I'm going to do something like this. Okay? So our vertex is the point 3, negative 8, which is right there. Okay? When we go, now I'm going to do just like we normally do. I'm going to graph my parent function, my translated parent function with this point being 0, 0. So I graph it here and here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think this is right. Okay. So that graph, I could do another point if I want to. There isn't. You don't have to, of course. So I'm just going to graph what I have so far. So here's my graph. Reminder, this is the parent function. So now what do I want to do? I want to graph this function. So what we have to do is we're going to take our y values and multiply them all by 2. So let's do that. Let's do that in purple. So this is the point. We're treating it like 0, 0. It still becomes 0, 0. We take this point 1, 1. It's going to become 1, 2. And its partner on the other side of the axis symmetry, which again, just draw that axis symmetry. Then we have the 2.24. Now it's going to become 2.8. Something's wrong. Nope, it's not wrong. I'm sorry. I'm just, you know what? Let's do, I got confused here for a second. I want to get rid of that axis symmetry, or at least change the color. It kind of threw me off there. I'm going to make it kind of, that didn't really do it. Let's make it kind of reddish. Okay? It doesn't really matter. I got a little confused when I was doing it. Hopefully it doesn't confuse you guys. But anyway, let's kind of go back here for a second. So we took 2.4, it became 2.8. I'm going to do it on the, I'm going to move it to the, I'm going to do its partner on the other side, which is right there. Now I want to point out something before I connect my graph. I want you to notice the intercepts of this graph. So let's ignore the orange graph for a minute. So, well, we're ignoring the orange because it no longer matters. Let's look at our purple graph. Our purple graph looks like this. Okay. I want you to notice it crossed the x-axis at x equals 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, x equals 5. Just like we said it was going to. This graph gave us the x-intercepts. It tells us where it crosses the x-axis. Okay? Let's keep on going. So I'm going to go a little faster on this. So our domain, same as it was before, negative infinity all the way to positive infinity. Our range, in this case, we have a lowest point on the graph, so y is greater than or equal to the y coordinate of the vertex, which we said was -8. Let's do intervals of increasing and decreasing. So it's increasing, right, to the left of the vertex. To the right. That's right. I know my left and right. So it's increasing when x is greater than the x coordinate of the vertex, which is 3. It's decreasing to the left of the vertex, right? It's going down as it approaches that vertex. And then it's got a minimum at y equals the y value of the vertex, which is -8. Okay? Was there anything else we had to find? I don't think there was. So let's keep on going here. That's weird. Did I not move things correctly? Huh. That's weird. Okay. My order of my problems got out of place. I will have to fix that later. It doesn't affect the video, it's just kind of weird. Okay, let's look at D. So I'm going to go and grab my coordinate grid so we can graph. Let's put that over here. So remember, our job, same thing as it always is, we have to find the vertex. So in this case, it's in standard form. So in order to find the vertex, first we're going to identify A, B, and C. A is -1 because that's the number in front of x squared. B is -6, and C is 3. So we're going to use our formula. In order to find the x coordinate of the vertex, we use our formula x equals -b/2a. Please memorize this formula. This is for standard form. So we get -6 over 2 times -1, which equals 6 over -2, which is -3. So our axis of symmetry is the vertical line x equals -3, and our vertex is the point -3 something. Remember, in order to find the something, I'm going to take -3 and I'm going to plug it in for x because it's going to spit out y. So let's see what we get. I take y equals, and I'm going to take -3 and I'm going to square it, -6 times -3 plus 3. -3 squared is 9, so this becomes -9. -6 times -3 is 18 plus 3. So we get 9 plus 3, or 12. Okay, that's going to work out fine. It's kind of hot. It's kind of a big number here, right? So I'm just going to take note of that. So our vertex, I'll label it. Our vertex is -3, 12. Okay? So in this case, what I am going to do is, let's see what we can do here. So let's make our coordinate grid. Our coordinate grid, I'm going to put it right down the middle, and you may be wondering about that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go by twos on the for the y's. So in other words, this is 2, this is 4, this is 6, this is 8, this is 10. Okay, so -2, -6, -10. My x's, I'm going to continue going by ones. Okay, don't get confused. I'm doing this because of the scale of this graph, because this is down at -312, right? I'm concerned about, what's it called? It's up there at -312, so I'm concerned about the scale of this graph. Actually, I'm still a little bit off, aren't I? Let me change that. Let me redo that. I'm gonna. It's not gonna fit with what I have. It's not terrible, but it's. Let me just make my graph a little bigger. I think that's what I will do. So I don't know if this is going to work too well. Let's see if we can just make it a little bit bigger. Let's do a couple things here. Let's get rid of this. Okay, you know what? I'm being lazy here. I'm just gonna grab a new graph real quick. So that one just wasn't gonna fit quite well on my graph. So I'm gonna grab a bigger graph really quickly. That will give me, I should have something bigger. There we are. I'm gonna still go by the values that I had listed. Boy, I'm really struggling here to find a good graph. Okay, let's go back. So let's see what we got here. I want to fit it all nicely, so I'm going to take 2 of these and put them together. There we go. Okay, so our highest point is -312. I want to kind of give myself room to do stuff here. So let's do this. This should be plenty. I should be absolutely fine here. Absolutely fine. Okay. I could maybe even go by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I could. Let's do it. We can instead of just changing our scales, my graph is big enough that I can go by ones. So we got the point -312. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. Whoops, let's do that in orange. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. So I'm going to plot my graph really quickly. Notice I'm a little bit off. I need to have another point that's kind of here and here. This is the translated parent function. Okay. So our translated parent function looks like this. It's not great. I'm going to draw my axis of symmetry. I'm not going to make the mistake I did last time. I'm going to draw in a different color. So now all we're going to do is we're going to multiply the y's by -1. I'm doing this kind of quickly because I think bell's about to ring. So I take this point right here, 1, 1. I multiply that second one by -1. So it becomes 1, -1. And I take this point, 2, 4. It becomes 2, -4, which is here. I've got 5 points I can graph. Okay? We really should go through the entire coordinate grid. So let's see what we can do here. We got our vertex. Our axis of symmetry is x equals the x coordinate of the vertex, which was -3. It is increasing when x is less than the x coordinate of the vertex, which is -3. And it is decreasing when x is greater than -3. It's got a maximum for the y coordinate of the vertex, which is, what is it? 12. Okay? Went a little bit faster on that one, but again, I don't want to get interrupted here. Okay, that is it for this video.